I think that this goes back to having the best agent on every call.
Hmm.
I think that we are actually going to be able to provide better, higher value customer interactions consistently all the time through AI than sort of the, um, you know, inconsistent versions that happen today. Like, one of the examples I gave is like someone's literally at a home turning a wrench, there's water leaking and their phone rings and they know it's a lead, so they got to pick it up. Like that experience is not good for the end for that prospective customer.
Right.
And
Right.
a couple things that we've found with that customers when they have been taking their own calls versus coming onto a platform solution. Typically, they're discounting more often, and that's
Hmm.
because they're like driving around. They got to get this person off. They got to get the deal closed. They offer the discount. Their conversion rates are lower because they're juggling other things. And then you mentioned a really, really big one. They don't have a good visibility into all their data for a couple of reasons. One, it's a small business, so their sort of view of what's happening in their market and their industry is already relatively narrow because they're in a limited geographic area. They're a small business, so by definition, they don't have tens of thousands of customers. And they hear one or two things in a week, and they think they need to make this big pivot. I need to change my pricing. I need to do this different offer. I need to change my hours of operation. Like all these kinds of things come up. Our business had been involved and it still is in a franchise, and we've had about 90% penetration in that franchise for quite some time. And we have one of the best views of their market data across the United States and Canada. And so that's been very interesting because we've been able to leverage that data set to give incredibly good advice to our customers on how to operate their business, what needs to be changed, what doesn't need to be changed. And they get professional services from us where they ask a question and say, hey, like, it seems like I should do this. I had two customers that did this month. And we say, hey, like, we actually know that in total that happens X% of the time. Like, sure, it's your business. You can make that change if you want, but like across the entire data set, it doesn't seem like that's as big of a deal. And so uncovering this is going to be really, really important too.
So you bring up a really interesting point, and I'll I'll introduce it by saying many small business owners don't have the time or experience to spend a lot of time in BI and analytics, doing the what ifs, or traversing the analytics maturity curve of tell me what I should do as opposed to tell me what happened. And you're providing that visibility as a service on top of the data collection, on top of the answering the phone and serving the customer. That's great because it makes it simple for that decision maker, the business owner, to see, there's a trend here. I'm getting more and more calls at 2 a.m. because of XYZ. Maybe I, and right, so here's the strategic business outcome.